to you lovely people out there listening. We're in the holiday season, and it's about a week away, less than a week, maybe 4 or 5 days. But it's
Something like that.
6 days or some shit. And just leading up to Christmas, I don't know. It was Trent's idea to kind of just he would just express that he was,
I'm just glad it's almost over, man. Like, I'm not a big fan of this season. Like, it is what it is. Like, I do enjoy spending time with family and all that at times, and it's, I blown all the concept and all that, but I'm just glad, like, working retail and all that it's almost over. Like, less like holiday deals and shit you don't have to worry about like messing up on or stuff like that, and Christmas themed things and all that. Like, it gets old. But like, this is like this is like people's favorite time of year, man. Like, this is like their moment. Like, this is they wait their whole year for this, like this season, or like the holiday season and all that.
That's the thing about it, Trent. Like, there's the balance of it. Some people who are like, man, because of like how you're saying, because of the career or job choice you might be in, you're looking at it like, damn, man, I can't wait for this to be over. Where some people are like, man, I don't want this to end. Like, the whole quote unquote Christmas spirit and being nice to your neighbor, or so to speak, if that's the type of life you're living or whatever. And like that type of stuff, like you can feel the joy or the magic in the air when you're a kid or whatever. But as an adult, you can still feel it too, in the sense of like, you're in a household where you have like a wife, child, whatever, and everything's going smooth during these times. But I don't know, bro. It's like, it's dope because I look at it like I'm on the fence, but I still lean more towards like not being a Scrooge or not being
fair enough.
Because it's like, it is really easy to be like, man, F these Christmas deals. And like, earlier in life when I was a bit younger and I'm working in like retail, or I'm working in like grocery stores or whatever, 100% that as soon as you go in, that Christmas music's playing. And it's like, it's that way from like mid-November-ish to like literally December 31st. And you're like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. But when you're not in it, like how I'm not in it now, I kind of lean more towards the joy part of it.
That makes sense. I know people who work in it and still love it at the same time, but like, once again, like, you do you, fam. Like, whatever floats your goat, as we say up here. But like, I don't know, like, I for me, with like any holidays, really, it just, I don't know. I find it weird that we set a day aside for certain things instead of like doing it all through the year, sort of thing. Like you were saying, like, about goodwill and peace on earth, and like, why can't we just have that 365? Like, why can't we just live? Like, I know it's like, I know you and I can, and like, we try our best, but like, why can't that be like the energy 365, and not have to be like tied to something? That's always been my argument with it, but it's a shitty argument because I'm a Scrooge.
It's not even shitty, bro. It's more understanding. The holidays are commercialized in that regard, man. So you're going to get the people who really like this time of year because they might have that disposable income to be able to buy gifts and buy all the Christmas decorations and things like that, and have their families feel good through whether it's materialistic things or just being able to like, oh, hey guys, dad's got us all a week vacation in Hawaii or whatever, you know what I mean? You're able to provide that type of thing, right?
Take that right about now.
Like, I mean, hey, it would be beautiful, but I'm just saying, it's like, you think about it, like, they commercialized it, and then it's like a lot of people that's why like a lot of people, in my opinion, look forward to this time of year versus having like that mentality throughout the whole year. Because like your whole year, you're kind of in the grind. Whereas the holidays, they kind of make like little checkpoints throughout the year where you kind of take a break and pause. And if it's like Easter or Valentine's Day or something, you take a pause. And sometimes if you have a significant other, you might take a pause and like reflect on life and, you know what I mean? be grateful or be thankful for everything around you in those on those specific days. Whereas you're to the point you were making, we should be looking at it the whole year like that.
Well, even to your point there, I think we should be having our own checkpoints, like not like monthly, weekly, if daily, if possible, but weekly, definitely, like just where you stop. And I've seen it so much popularized on like Twitter and fucking like everywhere else on social media, but touch grass, like literally go out and like go into the real world and like just take in nature and take all that. Like we've talked about that a lot on here, but literally like I think that's a seriously important thing that a lot of people miss out on, just that like grounding effect of like, this is like what's actually happening right now. This is reality, like disconnecting from this, like getting away from like outside voices and like outside like interference and stuff like that, and just going and having like that, this is what I'm thankful for. Even not even just going out and doing that, but like, you know, spending time with somebody and like disconnecting and just being like, this is the moment I'm in, sort of thing, like here with this person and being thankful for this moment to be here and all that got me to this moment since the last checkup, you know what I mean? Last checkpoint sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's just me trying to be on some like projecting that sort of lifestyle, because I'm still trying to get to that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Were you working towards that goal, which many of us who have similar mindsets, but just we may not display it the same ways. A lot of us are working to be able to have that like detachment, like, but in a good way, like detaching from the nonsense that might be around us and taking those mental health checkpoints or the mental health that might lead to the physical health. Whereas you might go to your doctor, get checked up. As we're getting to certain ages, we got to make sure we're getting checked up, different things like that. Like, but you allowing yourself to grow and get to that point of being able to stop being in the quote unquote rat race and being like, okay, let me make sure I'm good, because I don't want to overwhelm myself or hurt myself or have a heart attack or pass out or anything wild like that. Let me try to trip out and make sure I'm good mentally or physically, or like
have a fucking seizure at work. Like, yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like, and it sucks because it's like all these things can be so random, but at the same time, it could be drawn on by certain stress that unfortunately we might create in our own lives. Yeah. So sometimes we got to just break, right? Like, and fuck around and be on a good, like, be on like a good wavelength where we can stop, take checkpoints to say, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm good health-wise and mental-wise. And then, okay, let me continue on for the next 2-3 months until I reach my next checkpoint or whatever. However, I know you said it could be even weekly, but I was just using 3 months. But
whatever's clever, man. Like, everyone goes at their own pace.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's just like how I look at it is just like, it's like a holiday. It's like sort of trying to have like a holiday or like something for your mind, like instead of just like, you know, a holiday for like whatever sake, like because of this or that. No, like a holiday for your mind because you need it. Like there's no other way. You need to get out of that. Like I have a very, very fortunate like thing where I have this shift switch. So I have those days off, like enough days off guaranteed every week in a row. So I know I have like time to stop and do all that shit. I know like a lot of people don't. Those days off are like days off where they have to get things done, and you know they may have a bit, but like still you gotta do that at some point, like if not weekly, if not monthly, if not like bi-monthly, but you got to do it at some point, because like you said, you don't want a heart attack, you don't want to like have something terrible happen because of all stress buildup and all just being in the grind too long. That's completely what it is. And quite frankly, like I think that's part and parcel of what happened with me. It's just because I was just so stressed out and so like just anxiety ridden at that point, and it just all hit at once.
Yeah, and that's the thing that sucks about it too, because if it is like a combination of a whole bunch of stress or a whole bunch of things that just happen at once, man, it sucks because it's like, it seems like that shit is always preventable, but we don't prevent it in the sense of like we don't take those mental checks, or seemingly, like, not saying that you don't stop and sit down and relax for a second, but it's like it's almost like your brain never stops unless you do these types of things like meditating and different things like that that literally calm yourself down, calm your mind speeds down for a little bit of time so that you can regroup and fuck around and get your bearings and whatnot. But like
100%.
taking like holidays for the mind though, like I don't know. I feel like that's a good way of looking at it, or like vacations for the mind, where like yeah, like you definitely like you just check out for a little while. Not on no space cadet type shit necessarily, but just checking out in the sense of like, you know, being able to detach from the rat race, the nonsense, the different types of things that might be stressing you if you're not a parent. And so you're just more or less looking after yourself currently. You're not watching any kids or anything. Take your time and just be able, yeah, you can actually have those breaks, right? Like you should, in my opinion, you can afford to, or even like those day-to-day ones when you come home from work, bro, taking the 20, 30 minutes to just relax your ass and just mentally sit down, meditate, get to a dope ass mindset so that you can just bug out and just get all productive and start doing what you have to after you get home from work, if you have the energy to do that, right?
Exactly. But like, and that's also probably why like certain people love the holidays so much, is they get that mental holiday as well, and they get to spend time with family, and they get to, you know, reminisce on years past being a kid and whatnot. Like, I can see it. It makes sense. Nostalgia is just as hard as a drug as anything else I've taken in my life. So I don't know.
Yeah, man. And speaking about nostalgia, it's funny because it's like it kind of walks us into the next situation where it's like remembering certain like Christmases from the past, or not even just Christmases like specific ones, but like things that you may have, like whether it's traditions or whatever. Like I don't know if you have any that you could share. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. So because my mom and dad divorced when I was young, we've always had like 2 Christmases, but because we're also crazy as shit, we do it on the same day. So traditionally, it's been spend the morning in with my mom, do all that stuff like open gifts, have breakfast. My grandparents come over and whatnot, and then me and my brother would go to my dad's side of the family in another part of the area, at like 30, 45 minutes away, something like that. So it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna save that. It was pretty crazy last year. That's in a minute. Anyways, so we'd go there, have lunch there. And traditionally they'd rent out the arena in the one village, Rockland, and we'd be able to like have the hall and all that, and then go skate and all that afterwards. So it'd be pretty cool and all that. But because of COVID and all that, that stopped. But yeah, there'd be like 30 to 50 of us in the one room, depending on what year it was, like depending if everybody was together that year or if it was the off year where everyone was doing separate things. So yeah, we do that, hang around there for a bit. And then by like dinner time, we're back where I am now, basically either at my aunt's place or at my other grandmother's place, and spend the rest of the night doing that. And then that's Christmas. So it's always been like a busy day for me. Like I always just look at it as like it, but it's always a lot of eating. Like that's a big thing. And
always good. That's always good.
Last year I was so fucking hungover though, I couldn't eat. Like it was so bad. I got trashed with my mom the night before. Like, I got so drunk, Graham. Like I got like ridiculous, like belligerently blackout drunk with my mom the night before. And then I woke up with like one of the worst hangovers I've had since since forever. Like I puked off the back off her balcony smoking a joint. That's how bad I was hurting. Like, so yeah, I didn't eat much Christmas Day last year, and then Connor and I were driving home, and it was like you couldn't see like 2 feet in front of you, so we drove like 30 the whole way home. So what would be like a half-hour drive took us like an hour.
Yeah, bro, you gotta be safe, man. Especially when out in your parts where that's actually dope for a Christmas tradition, like where it's like a lot of traveling, but at least you make the time to go see a lot of different family members and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the same time too, out in your parts. Oh shit, my bad. You gotta be safe. You gotta be safe as heck when you're driving, bro. It's always like especially when it's snowing. it's like a blizzard, especially when it gets nighttime at like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. or whatever. It's like, damn. Like, at that point, you got to just take your time. But nah, bro, like it's good to have those like traditions, and especially like even though you're saying like at times it can be chaotic or whatever, it's like for it to be consistent, regardless of despite the chaos or whatever, that's what makes it fucking dope or special or whatever in that regard, man. Like it's kind of similar in my family with that regard, where it's like no matter what, like everyone would try to like make sure we get there like so that we can open gifts in the morning, and then for the afternoon, let's kind of chill. Fuck my bad, man. It's kind of chill in the afternoon, and after that, like once it gets to like the dinner time or whatever, we'd have Christmas dinner, right? And like it's like, but you'd be playing cards, or say it was super snowy or whatever. Now that I have two younger nephews, like we'd either go out and play or whatever and do whatever, or just chill in the house and play video games and just rock out and just while you smell the good ass food being cooked downstairs and whatnot. You know how it goes. It's just, but it's dope because it's like it stays consistent. But the one time, like when I was like maybe 10 or 11, bro, tripped out and got like different types of, I don't know if it was like, well, I don't know what gaming system it was, man. It might have been PS2 or PS3 or something. It might have been, but it was funny as heck because like
probably the PS2 because I got that around the same age.
Word.
For Christmas as well too.
Yeah, and that's what it is. But it's like you get like a system. Look, man, I'm tripping. You get a system. You get a game. You get like whatever different types of games or whatever, and then your homies get the same ones you can play online type shit. Actually, I think I'm bugging. I think it was an Xbox because I remember we were playing online, bro. Like, and we were tripping and shit like that, and it was like lit, like. But I say all that to say, like, I went to this guy's crib after in the afternoon, and we're still kids, even though we're playing with like game systems now. We're still kids, so we're building like snow piles and whatnot underneath this guy's garage. We're on the roof of this guy's garage. We climb up, and I jump off, land on it. I could have broke my neck, all that nonsense. But obviously, I was saying like it was cool after or whatever. Like we went inside after and went and got hot chocolate and shit. But but it's nonsense because like it just makes you. It's nostalgic, like you were saying before, bro. Like it just makes you think about like, and as we're approaching Christmas, how much things have changed, or in your case, if how much things can stay the same, right?
Things have changed a lot because we can't rent the hall out anymore because of restrictions and whatnot. It would be it was just too much like logistically, so we didn't do that last year, and this year is going to be the same thing. So it's different, but it's still like same basic premise is still there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I found it a lot more manageable last year's approach as opposed to the year before or prior years, I should say, just because like it was a smaller group and it was much easier to just like hang with like this group of people as opposed to all these people, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I enjoyed that a lot more.
You know, it's weird because it's like when you think about Christmases of the past, bro, it's like you think of certain family members that might not be here no more, or certain people who might not be here, not in the sense of like, well, one, in the sense of if they might have passed, unfortunately, but two, just in the sense of if they might genuinely not be able to make it this year, but they're still alive and everything's well. But it's like, it just makes you think like, dang, man, like they'll never be the same in that regard, even though like, say you were able to rent a hall and like things kind of could be the same, but just certain people weren't there. That shit right there makes it different too. And then you're like, dang, I don't know, bro, but it's still dope at the same time to like understand like that's why these things are important. And if you do have the opportunity to go and kick it with family and spend the holidays, and even if you are a Scrooge McDuck, you can still trip out and try to enjoy that time and make sure that you're not gonna like I understand like it might sound childish to say like, oh, like enjoy that Christmas spirit type thing, but it's like it's still something that you can actually like embrace as far as if you do have younger people in your family, like because it just kind of is a reminder of when you were that age, how special those times were for you, and hopefully that can even spark the endorphins or whatever in your brain to help. You know what I mean? You shift your mindset if you were a Scrooge type person. You know?
See, I just look at it as another day. It's just a day to get through once a year. It's just like, oh, I get to see family and all that, hang out with everybody. I eat a lot, and then I go home and pass out. But like, I don't know. This year's going to be different. That's all I know. This year's going to be different. It's been different last year. It's going to be different this year. So we're going to find out. That's all it is.
But think about it like this too. Okay, say for example, in using the sense of having an addition of, okay, now you have a partner in that regard that you wanted to spend it with. Just for an example, and we only have to use you. We can use just people saying like, okay, people who have partners who might say, hey, I want to enjoy this time with such and such, and go out and have a Christmas dinner, or or if she might suggest, oh, let's get a tree and blah 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 blah, and that might not be something that you were doing in prior times, but now you're just like, oh, and it's not necessarily a big ass tree, but just even a small one, just to be silly. That type of shit, in my opinion, like that's what, like, if you're not looking at that type of shit, like, oh, this type of shit is special, like, I don't know, bro. I just feel like we might not be choosing to look at the big picture of it, because it's like other people don't really get that opportunity. Like, so if you're not going to focus on the fact that you're super fortunate to have those quote unquote special days, then it's like, I'm not saying you specifically, but just people who say like, oh, yo, man, fuck it, it's just another. You can look at it that way, nothing wrong with that. But if you do, there's like nothing wrong with the other side too, meaning like the people who do choose to look at it like it's a special day. Nothing's really wrong with that either. Especially if you have, again, that's why I said like more like if you have like younger people in your family, like kids and shit, nephews and shit. That's kind of what kind of will spark the whole, oh, granddad, let's bake Christmas cookies and this little gingerbread or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what would bring you more into that realm of doing that Christmas types of shit, like coloring books with your grandkids or with your nieces and nephews versus, oh, I literally can just come home from work, eat, go to sleep, and then it's quote unquote Boxing Day. Like I don't have to care about Christmas. You're right. Like there's two spectrums.
It is what it is, but like other people, but you're right. Like other people like don't have family to spend it with, and they can spend it alone too. So like that can suck a lot. Like, yeah, it's just really being appreciative for what you've got. That's how I look at it. Yeah, I look at it more like Thanksgiving, like being grateful for what you have, like, and hopefully for more in the future, basically. But like I've spent like New Year's and stuff by myself, like where everyone's out partying and whatnot, and I've spent like stuff. It's different, but like, yeah, I couldn't imagine like. I could imagine it at the same time. It would be like, just like, wow, I'm like literally everyone is out doing like hanging out with family, and just be hanging out by yourself. That'd be just, I don't know. It just feel weird. You know what I mean? I'd rather not. Even a hermit saying this, I'd rather not.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's always better. Although like there's the phrase where it's like we come into this world alone, we die alone. But it's like in context, no one's really trying to have a lonely life in that regard, especially if it's a matter of by choice. Like, I mean, of course, people want their space and want to be able to like, okay, I need a couple of days where I can just chill and just not necessarily have to answer to somebody. But the majority of the time, I think that people want to have a little bit of, whether it's holidays or not, people want to have a little bit of like companionship, even if it's not quote unquote on no sexual shit, like you and the homies or you and some females that you might not necessarily be kicking it with on the intimate side or whatever. If that's like you're able to have that platonic relationship. Yo, bro, it's like you have the opportunity to like kind of vibe with people and especially if you get like when different things like factors like food and good ass music and shit like that is involved, even if it's not quote unquote, you don't want to call it a Christmas or whatever, but it's somebody's birthday or just a holiday in that regard where it's like a day that it maybe make a group of people feel special, one person feels special, whatever. That type of shit is necessary in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like it's just because it's easy to just be cold and alone and just, I don't care about nobody. But when you have that like strength and courage to be vulnerable, to actually like show other people that you're having a good time, because I know motherfuckers Trent who go out there and like go to a party or a club setting and won't have a good ass time. Why are you here? Because you're scared. It's like they're literally scared to let other people know or see that I'm having a good time. And it's like that shit, I'm telling you, that creates endorphins and different things within your body that makes you feel better. So
I know. You got to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You can't like fake it either. Yeah. Like you just got to be it with it. But like you talk, what you were saying there, just like friends and good food and good music just reminded me of 2020 by Saul. Just that vibe of just like, that's what we need. You know what I mean? And that's all you need, really.
Yeah, man. And if you haven't heard that song before, check that shit out. 2020 by Saul. But on YouTube, you might have to go Saulzilla. But I'm just saying, like, it's just, or even has a song called Paint. That's another vibe like that. It's just the ability to like have like feel good moments, feel good days, or on another note, the ability to have those mental checkpoints to have like a mental holiday where you can just take a break and just get everything, regroup, get everything in order, make sure you do your checklist, making sure you're good, and then taking your time and stepping away and just, continuing your mission. I don't know. It's just, these are the types of things that like, it's good to I guess to speak on or to share, because there's a lot of people out here who they don't want to express themselves, or if they do want to, or they might not kind of know how to express themselves. And like I had a friend help me, Trent, where it's like she was just like, oh, like dancing is not really my thing. And it's like, it's not about what's your thing and what's not your thing, in my opinion. It's about like you doing some shit, and if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Like you being like, oh, like dancing's not my thing, but the reasoning behind it, because it's like, I don't know how. Never mind knowing how, just dance and do whatever feels good to you. It might not look quote unquote right, but if you feel good while doing it, like that's why they say the expression like, oh, dance like nobody's watching, because it's like you're gonna fuck around, and if we're talking about this is life stage, you might as well go out with a bang and just show everybody what you got, versus, oh, I'm gonna walk on the stage and then just walk to the other side and then the curtain closes. That's a boring ass experience in my opinion. That ain't a full life in my opinion. Get the mental holidays and check that shit out, and just check yourself out.
I agree, man. Like that's a great way to put it. Like there's no point just like meekly tiptoeing across the stage. Like get out there and like be yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself, because there's nothing to be afraid of. Like honestly, like it's a feather pillow through that curtain. Once you throw yourself through that abyss and through the waterfall, there's nothing on the other side but a feathered pillow. And once you do that, you're fine. If once you do it once, it's that first step. Doing it once is scariest, but once you've done it once, you'll do it a million times.
That's a good way of looking at it, man. Like not having that fear to, whether it's express yourself, whether it's do the things you like, whether it's taking a break and telling the world around you that you're taking a break, having the courage to do that. Because some people, nah, man, I gotta keep going. And it's like, but why? I had another friend express a similar thing, like, oh, I never miss work. I'm never sick. And it's like, it's not, I don't think it's about being sick. I think like people sometimes, like, especially if you have vacation and stuff, this individual takes vacations, but it's like, nah, bro, like, you got to be able to, if you need a personal day where you're just mentally not there, I understand you can go to work, but especially if you're in a position where like, oh, I'm a doctor, or I work with mechanical tools. You can't really have a mental lapse day where you fuck around and cut your own finger off or something like that. Or, you know what I mean? Not to be so extreme, but that type of stuff can happen. You know what I mean? Like, take those have like those mental holidays, and please don't be ashamed to ever do it. We all need breaks sometimes, and just, if you enjoy the holidays, or even if you don't, hopefully you get through this time in a positive manner, coming from G. I don't know about you, bro, but that was kind of good, bro. I don't know if we
man, you fucking said it there. There's the bow on it.
All right, well, shit, let's get it. That's a wrap, and this is a Christmas ass experience. We'll be back to keep you guys updated. My name is Graham.
I'm Trent.
And we appreciate you rocking with us. It's been another episode of Ultra Fly Talk.